Pharmacy Times. Everything pharmacy, every day.
I'm the Division Chief for Pediatric Infectious Disease at Stony Brook Children's. I'm very relieved. I think it's important for us to recognize that America's children were put at risk when the vaccine schedule was changed. By eliminating those vaccines and making our schedule look like Denmark, we were in fact putting millions of children at risk from all of the vaccines or those diseases the vaccines prevented. By changing back to the original schedule approved by ACIP, experts in the field, and confirmed by data, we were actually preventing children from getting sick. When we lost that advantage, children were at risk. Well, each of those vaccines was placed on the schedule because it was proven to be effective. So, for example, hepatitis B vaccine originally was licensed for children or adolescents, and then it was moved into the newborn period because, in fact, infants that get exposed to maternal hepatitis B infection are 90+% likely to be chronic hepatitis B infected. By vaccinating them at birth, we prevented that lifelong disease. Hepatitis B infection in an infant goes on to chronic liver failure, cirrhosis, or even liver cancers. That one vaccine prevented all of those horrible outcomes. Losing that advantage means you were predestining those children to become sick and die from a preventable disease. RSV is a virus that occurs in early childhood. Every child pretty much gets it in the first 2 years of life. Unfortunately, the kids who get it as they are younger in that first year of life often wind up having reactive airway disease, being hospitalized with their RSV, and sometimes even in the ICU or dying from their RSV. That was not a vaccine that was licensed. It was an antibody. So none of the thinking or questions or issues that people had about vaccines had any place in the RSV immune globulin that was given to children. It was straightforward, just boosting their immune response. Losing that vaccine, as we say, meant you were predestined to get RSV and be sick from it. We really need children not to get sick. Hepatitis A is a very common viral infection. It too affects your liver and in some cases also can cause lifelong problems. Every year we hear about outbreaks, and the likelihood of those outbreaks continuing, meaning that we didn't use hepatitis A vaccine, means those kids will all get sick and so will their parents. Since we've started using hepatitis A vaccine, we rarely see outbreaks anymore because we're preventing them from ever happening. And of course, there's a meningitis outbreak now in some of the universities, both across the US as well as in the UK. By not giving meningococcal vaccine, we're telling families it's okay for your child to get this disease and die. And certainly that's not true. You want to have vaccine advisors who are A, knowledgeable, B, have taken care of patients, C, know how to talk to families, and D, know how to read studies and data. By selecting people who are biased up front, meaning the process will then not result in an outcome that is unbiased. If I ask you, do you like chocolate? And then you say no, and I ask you, well, taste all these ice creams, you're going to upfront say, of course I don't like chocolate. That one is the worst. You're biased up front, and your outcome will be biased. ACIP in the past has carefully selected physicians and those who know clinical medicine, etc., because they were unbiased. When he reconstituted the committee, he a priori selected people who were 100% biased against vaccines. That means any resultant downstream recommendations they have will not be based on data.
Pharmacy Times. Everything pharmacy, every day.